Welcome, everybody. We are back for this week's edition of The Bird's Nest. I found somebody on LinkedIn who I was like, that's the person I want to talk to. I think you're going to find today extremely interesting. All my research that I've done, I have found some real nuggets that I want, our guest to share. So with that, Mando Sallavanti, he is a financial planner. He is tremendously active. I think you're going to find him unique. So Mando, how are you today, man?
I'm doing well, Dave. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it and excited to get after it today.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, like what I said was 100% true. Um, we're all in sales. I'm in sales, right? And we've all heard of that like little pitch slap.
Yeah.
I think I get it the most. Like, no offense from your profession, but I think I get it the most from the financial planners, right? And like, hey, I just want to connect. I just want a cup of coffee. And I'm like, no, you really want to talk to me on my business. And I get it. And I'm not opposed to it, but I'm not going to take the call. Right. So when you're out there and you're doing stuff that's like you're on is it your brother's football team or fiance, by the way? I'm sorry to get that wrong. Sorry that I already marry you off
Yeah.
on LinkedIn. But you're putting stuff out there on like what I would call a more traditional approach, but yet in your capacity of financial planner, I just don't see many doing it that way.
Yeah. And Dave, it's funny. When I first started in my career as a financial planner, I get to my company and they say, "Oh, social media. There's so many people. It's a numbers game." Like, how many times in sales do you hear it's a numbers game? And financial advising, same thing. It's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. Reach out to everyone you know. So I was the guy that is popping up in your DMs now for 18 months starting my career.
Really?
That's what I was doing. And as you can imagine, no success. And how I initially had my business build was going to people I already knew. And I'm fortunate I already had a great network, just college sports, high school sports. My dad's a family physician, so he knows a ton of people. And it just got my foot in the door a lot of places where then I could prove myself. Right. So eventually that runs out though. And I'm at this weird point in it was probably about July of last year. So just over 2 years of doing this. And I'm like, all right, I need a more predictable way to generate business. And I'm looking at LinkedIn, I'm looking at Facebook, other social medias. There has to be a better way. Like, I know people are building businesses here. What can I do? Um, I hired coaches, I took courses, and long story short, it sort of just led me to what I've morphed into now of just let me show I'm a real person. I'll give you some education. And if you want implementation, you come to me and I'll help you with the implementation if you want to work with me directly. And that's just what I've taken from it because I realized no one that doesn't know me is going to work with me. Number one. Second, no one's going to see a post and think, Mondo's so insightful. Let me go pay him for what he does, you know? So that's sort of been the evolution to today.
That's, but your evolution is probably what a lot of people could be facing right now. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I've never posted. It wouldn't work for me. I'm in a profession that, it doesn't work, Dave. We're all referrals. I lose my mind literally when people are like, yeah, I'm all referrals. I don't need it. LinkedIn takes, you tell me, I think it takes 10 minutes a day, right? I'm not one to schedule my posts. I'm not going to sit there and plan my posts. I know some people do. Maybe I should, but what's your play then on LinkedIn? How do you get the most out of it in terms of your time?
So I think it can be to be effective and actually generate business grow. I agree. I think 10 to 30 minutes a day is sufficient to get something going there. Totally. For me, I block my LinkedIn time, my social media time into my calendar because to balance it with meeting with clients and doing other things, I do about an hour a day, 2 hours a day max if I'm at night and I end up scrolling. But I'll do an hour. And what I do in that hour is between my posts and just engaging with people that comment on my stuff, I'll send out messages to people that view my profile or they might engage with me and maybe they said something and I'm like, hey, this isn't like this dude seems pretty cool. Like, let me message him. Or I read a post and hey, I like your post today, man. Like that was awesome. And just stuff like that to facilitate conversations. And what people need to realize, I think, about this, and with like social selling, that term, I'm not doing all this stuff because I see Dave viewed my profile. I'm going to send them a message, and now Dave's going to be my client. I'm just opening a conversation, and now I have another relationship. Maybe a year from now, maybe 5 years from now, maybe never Dave needs what I do, but I just know another person now. And if they ever need it, they might come to me because they know I do it, you know? So that's pretty much what my deal with LinkedIn is.
I think it's great. I think and we've heard this before, but I think it's worth repeating, and it's worth you saying, this is how I approach LinkedIn. I approach it to get another connection, to help somebody out, to, give some advice maybe, right? And I always say, man, if I could help one person out there, I'm going to hit the post.
Yep.
Now, can I get some better quality? Yeah, 100%. I've taken some ideas from your stuff, right? And I know you use, some people to help you with the carousels. I've never done a carousel. Maybe one day I will, but you're not there yet. But for that. So let's understand this though. From a passion of what did you start off in this role? Right. And you start, because I can tell from and we have never spoken, right? Which is why I love this podcast, is I get to come in and just learn so much about people that I meet.
Yeah.
But I can tell from your LinkedIn post that you're passionate about what you do. Right.
Yeah.
I can just it comes across as you just want to help. That's the vibe I get. But did you come straight into a financial planning role, or did you kind of deviate a little bit and then, okay, now we found our way?
Yeah. So it's interesting. I was all over the place. And when I say all over the place, really in college, I was all over the place. And it stems from a couple turning points. When I was a kid growing up, my first dream was professional football. I feel like everyone wants to be an athlete or a musician or something like that. And that was me. Then as I realized, I'm short, I'm not the fastest guy in the world, I'm not the biggest, I'm not going to be a professional football player. The next thing naturally was to be a doctor like my dad. And growing up, that's what I always wanted to do. My friends call me Doc. They still call me Doc. It was like that ingrained in me throughout high school and going to college. And it just wasn't the path for me. And I realized I didn't want to do it. I knew I wanted to go into business. I didn't really know what. Financial advising was on my mind a little bit, but all the while I'm playing football in college, and a couple of my friends went and played professionally over in Europe. Like there's some smaller leagues that, they'll pay for all your living expenses and give you some money on top of that. And you're not rich like an NFL player, but you're living good. And that was something that I saw I could do. I get a shoulder injury. Pretty much from there, I'm like, do I want to go back? Do I want to risk it? I have this opportunity to be an advisor. And I talked to my parents' advisor, and he really sold me on the career. And he put it to me this way. We all think about three things before we go to bed. The first thing we think about, did I hurt anyone today? And if I did, you could talk to someone about it. If you're religious, you could pray about it. You could do whatever you need to do to make your mind right. The second thing, am I healthy? Are my friends healthy? Is my family healthy? If you're not, or they're not, they call your doctor. They talk to your doctor. And that second thing, that's my dad. He's the second thing people think about before they go to bed. And the last one, number 3, it's money. Can I pay my bills? Am I doing the right things with my money? Am I making the right financial decisions? And the third thing people think about, that's my mentor that explained that to me. And that's me now. That's a financial advisor. And when he put that to me, Dave, I was just like, this whole time I wanted to be a doctor because I saw the way people looked at my dad and how he helped people and the respect he had. And I saw another way that I could get that same respect and help people just as much as he did, if not more. And that's what drew me to this career. So when you talk about passion, man, I got it for this.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. I never expected that answer in that vein. It was like, yeah, Dave, I dabbled in stocks and here I go. Right. I think the person who said that's entirely right. And as soon as you said that, I'm going back to where I went to sleep last night going, all right, and I posted today, I had to go to the doctor, and I was like, I am going to the doctor. Now, luckily, my wife is pretty, smart and says, you're going to the doctor, even though you don't want to. Right. So she informs me, but you're right. you're right. You think about your day, you think about your relationships, you think about your health, you think about your money, no doubt, right? And I think that's so true, man. That's really, really good. Now, you talked a little bit about your coaching. You took some coaches, you took some in. Have you invested in your career? Like, and I know you're young in your career, but you're ultra successful. Have you invested in your career to the point like, yeah, I can get golf lessons, but I can also pay for, X or Y? Because a lot of people, I hear them again, it blows my mind. I'm not going to pay for that, for that conference. You paid for the golf lessons of $400, but we're not going to pay 500 to go to a leadership conference and understand, maybe how to get better, long term, right? So how do you approach that, or what have you done maybe?
I've invested in coaching and access to people from very early. When I first started, and this story will make sense because this is sort of what led into me investing in myself. I started my career, I'm 3 months in. I made $360 and I'm feeling like a loser, number one. But second, I'm like regretful because I'm like, I just left this career. I was the man. I was this football player. And now I'm a failure of a financial advisor on my way out. And long story short, months 4 and 5, I made over 50 grand the next 2 months. I landed some huge clients and I'm like, oh my God. It's like that. I think it's like a Will Ferrell thing. He's like, I don't know what to do with my hands. It was like, I don't know what to do with my money. And I'm a financial advisor. But in all seriousness, I'm like, okay, well, a lot of successful advisors I've talked to have said, invest in your business. Like they have coaches or whatever else. And I had a guy coincidentally cold pitching me at the time. So a good cold pitch story, but I gave him a shot and I got on a discovery call. We had another one and I ended up paying him $4,500 for basically a 6 week engagement, which was definitely not cheap by any means, but totally took me to the next level as a financial advisor in terms of how to run my practice, how to hold meetings, how to go the extra mile for clients. Because I think whether it's financial advice or any sales industry, I think how to go the extra mile and really deliver that next layer of value. Not only is it rare, but I think a lot of people don't even know how to do it because I didn't. And this coach, Simon, he showed me this in a big way. So that was a huge one. From there, I just got addicted to like paying for things in terms of money rather than time. And I wasn't going to hire Simon and he sold me. He was like, look, dude, you're going to pay for things in one of two ways. You're either going to pay me in this $4,500 fee, or you're going to pay in time. And time could be any amount of time. It could be 6 months. It could be 6 years. You won't know, but I know I'm going to get you where you need to be if you will pay me for the service. So then I saw the evidence. I saw the proof. I mean, Justin Welsh, huge creator on LinkedIn. I got his course for social media guidance. He upsold me and I bought a coaching call with him, which I'm glad I did because he doesn't do anymore actually.
Right.
But even now I have a branding coach. I have a marketing partner. I would call him. He's a coach, but more of a partner. I have an editor that I use. I have a life coach that I use, and I've had other people besides them that I've used along the way. And in addition to that, mentors that I don't pay, they're just mentors in my life. But investing back into me is huge. If I looked at every year I've been in business, I've probably invested between 25 to 35% of my income each year, just either directly in my business or into myself. And I realize that's not feasible for everybody, but I'm fortunate to be in a position that it is. And I can't even put a number on the returns,
I was just going to ask that. Do you think you've seen the returns yet, or do you think it's coming?
Yes, totally. Totally. There's been returns from most of these encounters, but with Simon, for example, I didn't get immediate return with him, but since the time working with him, I've probably made multiple six figures that I wouldn't have if I wasn't working with him. From that, just from things that I learned in our engagement that either he directly taught me or sparked me in the right direction to learn other things that I wouldn't have otherwise. You know what I mean?
I do. No, I
So
do.
so there's stuff like that. My life coach, Alia, she's been game changing for me. And I don't think I've seen direct returns from her, but I know I'm going to see lifetime returns from what the work I've done with her, just from different things that we've uncovered about myself and getting that objective view. She's just been amazing.
Why'd you go get a life coach?
I didn't plan to ever. I always thought they were BS, for lack of a better term.
Right? And a lot of people listening right now are going to go, "Hey, wait. Uh-uh."
I always thought it was just, pie in the sky, mumbo jumbo, whatever you want to call it. And I was looking for a business coach, more so on like the sales side of things, just to stay sharp there and stuff. And obviously I don't know everything. And Alia cold pitched me as well. It's funny. This is like a common theme. I got cold pitched by Alia, and I'm like, you know what? I'll give her a shot. I have 30 minutes. Sure. So we set up time. I talked to her. I had no plans to hire her, like none. I was just interviewing a bunch of different business coaches because I wanted to get a feel for what was out there, and just a gut feeling for who I was going to go with. Talked to her for 30 minutes. I was super impressed. Number one, she's not a life coach full time. It's her side gig. She is super successful and has a laundry list of achievements that I could go off of. And what she's doing right now is developing a drug that's, I think it's over 90% effective in clinical trials against cervical cancer. And I'm probably not exact on that. It might even be better than that, but just you get the picture of how successful of a woman she is. So I'm like, man, if I pay her and I get access to this woman and into her mind and let her have her view on my situation and help me guide me, I'm an idiot if I don't get value out of this. And that's just what my mind came to. And I hired her, and I never planned to, and I did. And I keep renewing with her, and I keep paying her. And it's just been the best decision I made.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Now, looking at it and just kind of scrolling back in your stuff and kind of seeing your piece, you talk about working on Saturdays. You talk about if I can get this, if I can get this right here somewhere, you can correct me. There it is. Health, career, friends, and family. We'll
Yeah.
talk a little bit on that because that really intrigued me. I was like, oh, we're talking on that one, right? So,
Yeah.
what do you think on that?
Yeah. I I'm going to come back to the question directly, but I think a story from my
Mhm.
after my first year in my career will wrap it together. My first year as an advisor, I was the fastest growing advisor in my firm's history and made great money my first year. Had an amazing year that not that I never expected, I won't say that, but just a great year. A month into my second year, it's February, I burned out. I'm like, I don't know what it is. I love what I do. I I like this career, and I'm just like something's missing. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. I realized I wasn't necessarily working with the type of people that I wanted to, and I was just working with anyone who could fog up a mirror. So it was leading to a lot of encounters where I'm like, this person might not have been a fit, and now I'm fighting an uphill battle to like prove myself, and I didn't qualify good enough, and it was just like anyone in the door. Eventually I redefined who are the types of people I want to work with, what industries are they in, and what do they do. And I got to that point. And it's funny, like being in a financial advisor, that again, it is sales. I want to work with salespeople. That is the industry. And those are the people that I get energy working with. And I love going to meetings with them because I get them and they get me. So I repositioned. I started branding myself more towards that. And it worked. I got it. I got in with a lot of them. Those are a majority of my clients now, easily three-quarters of them, I would say, if not more. And in doing that, it just gave me a new energy for what I do beyond the passion I already have to help people with financial planning. But it got me to that point where I love this. And sometimes salespeople can't meet during the week because they're selling all day. So they need Saturdays and they need to talk to me then. And I get it. And I don't care to talk to them then because I love what I do. And if I could go in and have office hours for 4 hours on a Saturday, granted, this laptop is my office. So, oh, I can't get on a Zoom call on a Saturday with someone. Like, am I really too good for that? That's what I'm like fighting in my head. So then I start working Saturdays. And sometimes I'm even available for one-off situations on a Sunday for someone here and there, but Saturdays traditionally. So coming back to the question, I'm huge in my fitness. I work out 4 days a week doing weights, and I do cardio on other days. And that's been central to me just being a football player. My business, that's obviously what we just talked about. With family, making time for my fiance and making sure we're doing stuff together. And she runs her own business and is super successful in her own right, which is perfect because she gets it, because she has a lot of long hours. But just between those 4 areas of life, I think if you can make time for them every single day in some capacity, even if it's not directly in them, I think it just makes for a good life. And it's a good check to say, like, are you really in the realm of each area of where you want to be? Like with health, for example, are you doing the right things to make yourself healthy? With your career, are you in a career you like? With your family, do you enjoy time with them? Are you giving them what they deserve? And just as examples, but if the answer is good for all of those, you should be able to have a little bit of them every day.
Really good, man. Really good. Like I looked at that, I'm like, well, there's a couple ways to play this, right? Now I think you have to have a very supportive structure around you, right? For anything you do, but especially putting your toe, and it's not for everybody, right? I would caution that. Um, I personally look at it and go, yes. And I've been vocal here. Saturdays usually are all off. I switch you and your Saturday and Sunday. Like Sunday for me, I sneak in, everybody's sleeping. I'm here. I get my touches out. You'd be surprised. I get a ton of responses on Sunday, right? A ton. I do some work on LinkedIn. I do my LinkedIn work a little bit. So I switch it around. I'm with you more than I'm not. I can see how some people may say, but I think the 4 areas are really key. And
And
are
I,
you
I
doing something every day to do that? I think that's
yeah,
key.
and I don't want to cut you off, but I want to make a mention. It's not saying like work every day and like do all this stuff, but it's, hey, if I could do an hour towards my marketing on a Sunday or a Saturday, or here and there, or late at night or whatever, just a little bit extra, that goes a long way over time.
Hey, look, I preach it. I preach it to guys that I talk to, and I go, look, man, if I want to make X, and you tell me to make X, you got to do an hour on a Sunday. I'm signing up every time, and everybody would sign up with me. But yet, I go, okay, it's time to do that hour, and everybody goes, right? So from my standpoint, I'm with you, right? But I thought it was really intriguing, especially on the 4 areas. Anybody can say I work 4 hours on a Saturday. That's not interesting to me, right? To break it down, I'm cheating as I look over here at the health, career, the family and friends. That got my attention. Okay,
Yeah.
so let me hit on this, and then we'll hit on some stuff at the end and kind of have a little bit. But on the serious note, law of attraction. You read, I think you're, Think and Grow Rich, and the law of attraction. Right, you're sitting up, you're ready for this, right? You can just see it, right? Talk to me on that, right? Because I have some pictures up of my kids. I'm a little bit older, but you are really into that, and I think I am too. But I want to hear your idea on this one.
That story I mentioned when I was 3 months in and made $360 to then go on to make 50K the next 2 months alone. That book is single-handedly what got me to that point. And I don't say that lightly. The law of attraction, I remember hearing it in this form from football coaches. Visualize yourself making plays before the big game. And we've all probably heard that, whatever sport we played growing up or whatever. I never bought into it, and I never did it. Oh, yeah, okay, coach, whatever. I'm at rock bottom, about to have to make a total career change after I threw away everything. And I got this book and read it after it sat in my bedroom in college for years. I never picked it up. And for some reason, I finally picked it up. And Hill talks about the 6 steps to riches, where he says, define what you want and what you'll give for it. More importantly, when you'll get it and how clearly you have in your mind that you will get it. And I wish I had the sticky note on me. It's in my wallet, but I don't have my wallet in my pocket right now. But I wrote down on a little sticky note, I will make X amount of dollars by doing X, Y, and Z. I will give my clients the best possible financial solutions and service in return for this money. And it's so clear how this will be transferred to me. With the law of attraction, where everything goes wrong, they think it's, ooh, idea. Ooh, I visualize it. Now it's mine. No, that's not it. It's idea, visualize it. What are you going to give for it? Now go carry through and execute on that. And it will come to you if you focus on the thing and focus on the actions. That's the step that people miss with the law of attraction.
You talk about taking action, right? I mean, I read a post where you're like, okay, this is all well and good. I think, oh, I know what it was. You were talking about listening to people and to, it's entertainment at some point of time. But if you take action on it, okay, now we're into something, right? Is that where you're going with this a little bit?
Yeah. That post, I know exactly what you're talking about. Sort of talking to myself from 5 years ago. When I first started getting into business books and podcasts and personal growth and all this stuff, I would read a book a week, maybe a book every 3-4 days. And I was just addicted and loved it and just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. But doing that and not actually doing anything, it's just as good as sitting down watching Netflix all day. That, like, literally, you might as well be doing that. And the first time I finally put something into action, my senior year of college, the pandemic hit, I'm bored, and I'm like, you know what? My best friend, who's my realtor, and he's going to be the best man at my wedding, he started a sneaker business at the time, Jordans, Nikes, whatever, flipping them, reselling them. I say, dude, I've been collecting shoes with you our whole lives. I could do that. I know more than you. So I start mine up. He's awesome and supportive of it. Me and him are both building these businesses. And then I see it. I'm like, oh, the stuff in these books works if you like apply it to something actually, and then parlay it into my career now. But I just use that quick little story to illustrate the point.
Sweet, dude. Love it. Dude, this time has flown by. Like I just glanced down at the clock. I was like, well, hell, I'm at 30 minutes. I was like, damn it. Right. We're gonna come back to this before I even get into like the end stuff. And I always have a little bit of fun. We're gonna come back to this because everyone, I think every time I do some of this, I interview somebody and I always have like 3 or 4 things left over. Right. I'm like, oh yeah, we'll come back. And probably I'd have to pull up more information. I literally could run another, 30 minutes with you, but I want to cut it short. I know everybody's on the elliptical somewhere and just listening out, right? So let's answer a few questions. You're a football guy. What positions you play?
I was a linebacker.
Wait, how tall? You said you were short. Like, how tall are you?
I'm like 5'10".
All right. All right. Like, I mean, okay. So you were like what, middle, like, like I'm not a football like junkie, right? So you were like inside linebacker, outside linebacker with speed, like.
So I played inside linebacker. I'm 5'10". Right now I'm about 200 pounds. When I played, I was about 230. So
Ooh,
I was,
okay.
I was definitely
okay.
big. But at 5'10", it's not exactly
not the prototypical. We're not going to the combine. All right. I mean, I got you. But that's still pretty badass.
Yeah.
Favorite football team? Who you got?
Pittsburgh Steelers all day.
So like, Ben Roethlisberger is like God to you basically at that point in time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Like, what's their record this year? Like, you're a homer, I get it. You're from Pennsylvania. I'm from Philadelphia, right? Up there. So what's their record? 17 games. I'm going to help you. 17 game seasons. A higher math here for you. Okay.
Off the top of my head, I think there's no reason they can't be 10-7 this year.
Ooh, okay.
I think 10-7 is a realistic.
Okay.
Based on the young kid at QB.
I was going to say all right. We'll see if
a couple signings. We'll see.
Couple signings. All right. We'll see. Is there a date set for the wedding yet? You got a date?
It's so funny, man. We've been engaged since November and have not even looked at a venue, but we're just taking our time.
We're
Am
I invited to the wedding?
Unfortunately, I don't think so, but we'll see what we can do. Maybe you
all
can
right. And then last question: what do you got for hair? Like, what's your hair product? Like what are you rocking up there, Mitch?
So this is crazy because this is the first time I'm revealing this, so you should be
Ooh,
on.
this
But
is like TMZ kind of stuff, man. Like what we got?
there's a product at Walmart. It's called Murray's. It's a pomade and it's like $3 and it's the best thing ever.
Yo, my jaw, like what? Like I'm rocking Mitch paying like $29 out of my budget, which
Less is more.
is a whole nother thing. You're going to Walmart rocking the Murrays. All right, man. You heard it here first, man. Dude, we're gonna keep that. I'm not even putting that out on LinkedIn. That's staying right here, man. That's staying right between us. All right, everybody. Look, Mando, tremendous interview, dude. Tremendous stuff. I always look for like 2 or 3 things on here. I'm gonna read this back, watch this back, excuse me, and I want to take notes, like legit. I think there's some really powerful stuff for you to be so early in your career. It's amazing to me. I think it's going to be so fun to watch you on LinkedIn. It's really going to be fun, right? I am excited. So thank you again, man. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. To everybody else listening, as I look up here, we have some really cool stuff happening. I'll see everybody next week. Be safe.